Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead and fire away.
And go ahead, Troy, then Marilyn.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, Greg. Um, I have a question about oils per
Sure.
se. Um, I found out yesterday morning that my workers' compensation claim was denied,
Bummer.
and I've been feeling real upset
Uh-huh.
about it.
But
And a pretty open-ended so-called question, but I'm just like trying to figure out how to like pivot. I mean, there's some like things that I've been advised to do to like try to get like a workers' comp attorney and stuff, but
right.
I'm trying to figure out like how to process the like intense emotions that are coming up that like have been coming up the whole time for the whole like month that's been going on.
Yeah,
But
you're probably like because like the amount of time, is it just like the missed work or is it also like medical bills and things like that?
well, the medical bills are not bills that like they would pay for with workers' comp because based on how things went initially, I kind of like wasn't putting much stock in what was going to happen with like the normal doctor or podiatrist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really go that route. And I went to like my regular doctor, Dr. T, who's like a,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
holistic.
Right, right.
And I've gotten a lot of relief and, help from that, but it's not something that like insurance would pay for.
No.
So
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
mostly about the like I was just assuming that it was like an open and closed case where I was going to get reimbursed for the time off from work where I've just needed to be at home like healing.
Right.
And, and they're saying that even if they had approved it, that they wouldn't be paying me for that time.
Oh,
Basically, a doctor looked at the x-ray from the initial injury that happened at work back in
right,
March,
right.
and he decided that there was a possibility that there had been a pre-existing hairline fracture or that there maybe were signs of degeneration and that it couldn't be proved conclusively that that was like the first incident to the
Right.
foot.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I've never injured that foot before that I know of, and I've never had, you know, intense pain in that foot until the moment that I went to lift that crate and broke it back in March. But the insurance company, talked to the doctor who analyzed the X-ray, and he said, well, you know, it's possible he already had a fracture or that there's some kind of degeneration in the foot pre-existing, and so they denied it based on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very common thing to have to use a lawyer sometimes for workman's comp. Um, and then you have to kind of weigh like how much is that going to cost versus how much are you going to get if you win, and so okay, but let's deal with the feelings. Like, maybe later we can talk out some of that other stuff, but um, so just like upset, angry, panicked, like what's coming up for you?
Yeah, I mean, like worry about money, angry that it's like you see a commercial for this insurance company. They're taking care of, little old ladies and like blue collar workers and
Yeah.
kids and stuff. And then, I'm dealing with them and it seemed like an open and closed case. And there's just like the feeling of injustice of like, man, why am I having to like fight for this so hard?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I talk to my boss about it, he's kind of like, I'm doing everything I can do, like it's just kind of like a feeling of like, you know, nothing's going to happen. It's
Yeah,
just
there's
up to me
probably
to like,
not a
get through
lot.
it.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot your boss can do. Like, just my little bit of dealings with, having to have workman's comp insurance for, like a Stara and stuff. It's I would say I would have very little influence in that situation if it happened, like if you were one of the employees. I could make a suggestion to them, but they're going to do what they're going to do. And so here right now, let's just deal with the feeling. So there'd be a couple things that I would say. And the thing that here is, like, yes, we're talking about a specific situation for you, but this could be something that's used anytime you're dealing with something difficult, or where something kind of bad happens, or you get triggered really bad, or this isn't just being triggered, you're dealing with something that's difficult, and it's a stress response, a trauma response, a fear response, or a combination of all of the above. um, and so I go to things for right off the bat, um, things that will help calm into like the lower emotions, because the thing with lower emotions is it's more physiological than psychological. You have psychological components because your thought process about, oh, what about the money, what about this, what about that. So there is psychological components, but a lot of what you're dealing with is like the body's reaction, and so I would say that it has to be a little bit of a multifaceted approach. And Melissa is always good here. Tarragon, inhaling benzoin, it's also good. Another one that I would consider is like basil, like salt baths, and basil, like a body tonic or in a lotion. Just take some basil that you have, and find an empty bottle and put some, like vodka or something in it, and then put a bunch of basil in it, and then shake it up, and then just rub it all over your body. And the reason to use basil is it will help like release a lot of the buildup of the lower emotion, that physiological or homeostatic emotion in the body. The Melissa will help reduce the production of it. But like sometimes, we inhale it and we take it internal. But here, when you're talking about like physiological responses, sometimes it's really good to just rub it all over the body, not just like a spot, but like, um, the arms, the legs, the back, the abdomen, the butt, just like hit all those spots. And it really just flushes out a lot of that lower emotion. The other thing that I would say, and let's just do it right now instead of just talking about it in theory, but how we do with like Lama yoga, or like with the different processes where you take a situation and you kind of look at it, and then you sit with it, and then you feel it in the body. Like this is, anytime where I get like a little bit triggered or something bad kind of happens, you know, you're wanting to shift out of the intellect and shift more into the intuitive part of the mind, so that you can like problem solve. Because that's the thing with intellect, is it's going to go into speculation. Like if you think about like the stress response, the first step of a stress response is something bad happens. The second is then, what does this mean? Like, what's the value? How bad is this? What's going to happen? We start doing the whole speculation thing. And it's a natural part of the speculation, is a natural part of the stress response. It's not like, oh, sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. Every time we all do it. Like we all do it. Right. And then third is then you start kind of coming up with, well, what is what is going to be the strategy? What's the plan? What's the implement? And so depending on how well that second stage gets handled, really will dictate how well you can put a strategy in place. Like if you're really super upset and you're coming from a place of, you know, like sometimes you see this like when people are going through divorces, that they'll spend $100,000, each side will spend $100,000 fighting over $50,000. They get so wound up in the fight itself that they don't go, okay, damage control. Like, what do we need to do here? Right? Because it's coming from that place of like the trauma, or the stress. And so it doesn't mean that you don't take any of those actions, but you do it like from a place of more like a cognitive place where you make decisions rather than trying to put out a fire. I wish somebody would have pulled me aside and like told me that in my first like 35 years of my life. Like, oh my God, my life would be so different. But so what I would do is let's have you do this right now. Like, so just think of the situation, think of the workman's comp, like think of the injury, think of the 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 claim being denied. And for the other ones, like the other people, think of some situation that is like where you got like bad news or something bad's happening, or even if it's in the past, you still can go through and do this process. So, and the thing is just to observe it, not to really define it, not to go like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Just keep observing that situation and just keep watching it. You want to stay kind of focused on it until the awareness starts to expand. So think of that whole like little situation, and eyes can be open, eyes can be closed, doesn't really matter. And just let your breath be kind of normal. Yeah, keep just observing it. Okay, good. And now go to your body. Like when you sit and observe this and you come back to your body, where do you feel it in your body? And it might be in your chest, it might be in your jaws, it might be in your back, it might be in your gut. Sometimes when I get really bad something, I feel it in my gut. So wherever you feel it, and wherever you feel it, your just awareness is going to be there and you're just observing that. Keep your awareness on your body. Just let yourself breathe normally or naturally. Don't try to take long breaths or anything. Just let your breath just be normal. Okay, now go back to the situation. Back to, you getting the denial and the injury and the missed time of work, and just observe it. And then come back to the body. Where do you feel it in your body? And now move your awareness to your feet, like the whole foot, top, sides, back, the bottom. Awareness is just on your feet. And then again, go to that external situation and just observe it. You're still just observing it. and then come back to your body. Now, awareness just on the heart, the center of your chest. And then the back heart, the area between the shoulder blades. Okay, so Troy, how do you feel right now?
I feel calmer.
So it's going to go up and down. You know what I mean? But it doesn't fix your problem. But this is what I'd say, and I'll say this from my personal experiences. The more that you can get to a calm place, you have some tough decisions. You are going to have to like think some stuff out. And I'm glad to talk that out with you. You know, we don't have to do it here, but we'll do it privately and everything. But it's better to do it from like that place of calmness, so you can make a better like cognitive decision, because you are going to have to, you know, decide like what to do and how to handle it, and like coming from that place of calmness, you're able to be a little bit more strategic and cognitive rather than being upset and like reactionary. And you know, like sometimes even like I'll have a situation happen and I'll like, let's do da 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 da. And then I'll start sitting with it. And I was like, that's probably not a good idea. Like, let me sit with it for a bit. And I usually completely change direction. But my first instinct is like, to do something maybe that I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Just it's not that it's bad, it's just like reactionary. It doesn't really solve anything. And so here you're really needing to be able to like solve the situation, you know, the best that you can, minimize damage and solve it the best that you can. And so if you're feeling upset, don't make any decisions. Like wait, and even just do this practice where you go, okay, like I just need to calm down and do this, because what you're dealing with is very upsetting. I had something very similar. I had 4 knee surgeries that they in a short amount of time, and it's kind of a similar thing. They go, well, had gotten approval and everything, and they'd said, oh, you had gotten a shot like 2 years prior, pre-existing condition. They didn't cover any of my knee surgeries, and I was devastated. And that first few months was pretty rough, but eventually I kind of figured out a path through it and everything. But I think if you're able to get to that calm place, you'll be able to resolve it much quicker. Like and so use some of the oils that you have. Like I said, anything calming. Like tarragon is really good for this because it deals with the shock of it, right? Same with benzoin. Even rose will deal with the shock of it. But then like the next wave of it is we don't want to get into too much of the speculation, because like part of the stress response is we start going to all the worst case scenarios, or you just start speculating of all the horrible things that might happen, or at least that's where my brain would go. And so you want to be able to calm things down so that you can take in information and then make a decision. And so first just starts calming down that first initial stress response. And then, with that, I'll talk with you privately and we'll go through and we'll look at like what are the options. We'll scan some things, we'll evaluate it, and we'll try to help you to make good decisions. I think I know a lawyer. You're Texas, right? You're Austin, right? Is that where he's at? Austin. Um, Let me see if I know somebody there as well. That maybe we can even have you reach out to them and get at least some advice or something. And so, but first phase is just for the next like 36 hours or something, just work on trying to calm everything down. And like I said, it doesn't really change the things that you're going to have to deal with, but it'll make you more capable of being able to handle those situations. You're a smart guy. You just, if you calm things down, you'll go through, you'll do the processes, you'll minimize the damage, make best decisions that you can, and move forward. And it's very common in workman comp cases for sometimes to have like something like this happen. I mean, I think I had one patient, very different situation, but I think they went round and round like up to 4 times before they got it. Like it was much more complicated than yours, but um, you know, it's what happens. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen. So let's just get you in a good place so that you can make good decisions, not reactionary decisions. Like I said, God, I wish somebody would have pulled me aside like before my first 35 years. It would have saved me from making a bunch of mistakes. But anyway, that's another topic. But just practice this. Like whenever you start to feel yourself getting worked up, the thing that usually gets us worked up is the speculation. And so you want to move from speculation to observation. And in the observation, you're taking in information and you're going to have a much more realistic like path. Where speculation, you're dealing with hypotheticals, you start doing things, and then a lot of times because you're dealing with hypotheticals, you still don't produce a result because it's speculative. You know what I mean? You're dealing with things that are maybes or a perception or something like that. And so yeah. And do you have some Melissa and some basil and uh if not those, like break out like some tuberose, or some of the real heady ones that some lotus, anything you got that's like a little heady.
I think I have everything that you said except
Yeah,
for the
I'd
basil.
start rotating them and like find the one that you're jam in the moment.
I don't think I have any basil. I'll order some more
Okay.
basil.
Well, use something that you got. Like if you don't have basil, throw some tarragon in it. Like tarragon applied topically is very good for diminishing um, like emotional tension in the body, like homeostatic emotions in the body. And it's different. Like when you take it internally, it does one thing, but when you do it topically, it soothes the body. And like that's more of what you need right now than anything. Yes, your emotions are upset. Yes, your mind's upset. Your body is freaking out. Like you need to like calm the body down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll text you later tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sorry that happened, man. And that's a bummer.
So the whole thing has been really emotional for the last
Yeah.
month,
Yeah, I
and
bet.
I'm not, like I can't do any of my usual like stress response habits. So, like normally
Yeah,
something
exactly.
happens, I go to the woods and run 10 miles, but I can't even walk around the
Right,
house.
right. Like, so how far away are you from being able to go back to work?
I mean, it's healing pretty fast, and I feel like I could potentially go back to like light duty work. It's just that I feel real apprehensive about that because, which is part of why I was hoping the workers' comp would like be paying me for my time so that I could really stay off of it and, get back to 100%. Because what happened when I initially broke it is I went to Dr. T and got some relief. And then I went back to work after a week because it wasn't like hurting super loud. So, I'm just a little hesitant to go back, like just for the sake of money, in the next couple of weeks,
Hmm.
because, you know, I mean, it's so much worse this time than it was the first time.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, yeah.
And it was just like off the charts pain for like 3 days. And then, I just feel like it needs to heal really, really, really well
Right,
because what I do for a living, like my body is my livelihood, and that's my foot. So it's like
right,
if it doesn't heal properly and the bone doesn't fuse well, then not only am I not going to be running through the trail, I'm not going to be working either.
right. And you've had it x-rayed or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and does the insurance cover that or is that out of
No,
pocket for you?
everything's been out of pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you break it? Like back in March?
I initially broke it in March, and then rebroke it like 3 weeks ago
So it's
Sunday.
been 3 weeks. So yeah, so you got a good another 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. Well, do the practice the next 36 hours that we talked about, and I'll reach out to you tonight and we'll set up a time to talk and we'll talk that out.
Okay. Thank you, Greg.
Okay. Yeah.
All
And
right.
even if we have to talk it out a few times, we'll talk it out.
All right. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Marilyn, then Letty.
Hey, Marilyn.
Hi, Greg. Um,
Hey, hey. How are
so
you?
I'm good, thank you. I've really been enjoying the Melissa Spagyric tincture,
Hmm.
and I've been trialing it on my children, and it seems to be helping. But I'm curious, is it okay to do it on them, or like, do
So
I have
which
to
one
have
are you
some?
using? They all should be fine, but which one are you
The
using?
the Melissa.
Oh yeah. Melissa's awesome for children.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I just
I
wanted to
used to
make sure.
joke with one of my clients. I said, if you want really good children, give them Melissa. Like,
Wonderful.
because it's just it's one of the there's probably 15 or 20 oils that you could use with children, but like if you had a magic bullet for far things going on with the children. It makes them calmer. It makes them, not as bouncing around, and it just. I mean, I use it for the same reason. Like, so it just makes everything a little bit more chill. Like, they become a little bit easier to manage, and yeah, it's totally okay for that. Yeah.
Okay, and then as far as like the oil and the Spagyric, is there like one that I should do more than the other, or it doesn't matter, like either
Well,
or?
yeah, either or would work, but the Spadri is probably a little bit better choice. For one, it's a more cost effective, and it's a really strong tincture that also has some essential oil in it, and so you get the herb and the oil in that, and it's a pretty good combination for that, and
Okay,
so that's what I would do.
awesome. Do you
Yeah,
think that maybe you could make like a family size?
I can make whatever size you'd like. Yeah,
Oh, sweet.
yeah.
Okay,
You want a
thank you.
big?
Yeah.
I can do it.
Thank you.
You're so
One
welcome.
more, one more question.
Mhm.
So recently, my dad, got an MRI and they saw that he had small vessel disease in his cerebral small vessel disease.
Mhm.
Um, what can I do to help him with that?
Hmm. Oh, that's how old's your dad?
He's 62.
Oh boy, he's a young guy. And does he have any other health issues or?
He recently had a heart attack.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. So how bad was the heart attack, by the way?
I think he had to have a triple bypass.
Okay. So substantial. So I would like him to do a couple of things. So you could I would have him use like some helichrysum, like he could put a few drops on his wrist, or actually better, I like him putting it on his temples. And inhalation and even just inhaling would be good, but if he could keep his awareness on the brain, um, that would be better. And then there is an herb that I would like him to use to help rehab the heart, and then would also help with circulation in the brain and things like this. And the herb, I can run it down for you, but it would probably take me a couple weeks to be able to get it. Um, but you could also go online and get like capsules of it. And
I'll wait for you.
okay, but the herb is going to be Arjuna, and it's an Ayurvedic herb, but there's been a bunch of studies about the effects of Arjuna on the heart, especially post heart attack, and even some cerebral issues that come along with the heart issue and everything. And we might augment and have him do something else, but if he consistently takes the Arjuna daily, it has a very positive effect on the heart and undoes some of the effects of the heart attack. He's had the triple bypass, but we still want his heart to be as healthy as possible, and the circulatory system, and and brain function. But, just like in meditation, when you activate the heart, it eventually activates the crown. When there's a heart issue, like a physical heart issue, it affects the brain. And so, we want to look at the heart and the brain. And so we'll get that going. I'll put that in motion actually tonight. And so we'll try to get it there sooner. But this is a more of a long-term treatment. But do you have any helichrysum?
I think I do.
Okay.
I'll look for it. If not, then I'll order some today.
Okay. And so just like a couple of drops on his wrist, like twice a day, maybe.
And his temples.
Yeah, I said his wrist, but I meant temples. Yeah. Do the temples and twice daily. And that should be helpful.
Okay.
But between that and the Arjuna, I think that should be super helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad he's doing okay. Like other than that, he's feeling okay. Energy levels okay. His cognitive processes, like he's able to think clearly and all that.
He's actually been having a lot of memory issues, and because of that, they did
Yeah.
the MRI of his brain and found
Yeah.
that, which
Yeah.
shows like some sort of like dementia, or it could cause vascular dementia.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, like sometimes the dementia, like I used to use the term with some of my patients and things. I would call it transient dementia, because it can be because of inflammation or blood supply or something going on like that. And if you resolve the issue, the dementia goes away.
Oh,
And
sweet.
so just because there's dementia there doesn't mean that it's there forever. Like there are times where it's treatable and you can reverse it.
It's awesome to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. God, he's young. Like,
Mhm.
was that his first cardiac event?
Yes.
Okay. Did he have like really stressful work, or is there a genetic predisposition or anything like that? Or
I think it might be his lifestyle. I think it's
yeah,
the way he loves to eat.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So, and his cholesterol and all that kind of stuff, all that's
I'm,
okay.
I'd have to dig deeper.
Okay. And they're not concerned with any sort of clotting issue or anything like that?
Not that he's told me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a breathing issue? Like he doesn't have like
Yes, he
asthma?
does. He has
Okay.
sleep apnea.
Apnea. Let's put these two things in motion and then we'll start dealing with the apnea bit.
Thank you so much, Greg.
You're
I
so
really
welcome. You're
appreciate
so
you.
welcome. And if something starts to get weird or wonky with him, you let me know.
I appreciate you so
You're
much.
you're
Thank
so welcome.
you.
And you probably already have. I'd have to go back and look. But have you submitted his name for the prayer petitions for Astara?
I submitted it once when he had the heart attack.
Okay.
I'll do it again.
Maybe send it a different, because like most times I'm the one that's going through it all, and I do little healings on some of the people and situations, and so if I see that it's him, make sure let me know that it's your dad.
Okay.
I'll spend time doing healings on him too.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
so
Thank
welcome.
you.
And then go ahead, Letty, then Lolly.
Hey, lady.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Sam.
Hey,
How are
hey.
you?
Good. Hey, how did your boyfriend do with the kidney stone?
Honestly, he hasn't really had anything else other than like he started feeling a little bit of pain again, but I don't think he's past the kidney stones yet. I mean, he hasn't had
He's
any
still
pain.
feeling pain. There's still something there. Yeah.
Okay.
And are we sure that it's a kidney stone, or?
Yeah, we're not 100% sure. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
But it's in the kidney area and the whole bit.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was like a lower back pain that he had like got one evening. It was really, really bad. He was like kind of started kind of like panicking because he hadn't felt that kind of pain. Then he
Mhm.
remembered his dad had a kidney stone, and so he, kind of
Oh,
talked to him, asked him. So that's what he's thinking it's that.
yeah. Okay.
But I gave him some lemon oil so he can add it to the water, and then just kind of also asking him if he wants to try any of the other ones like you gave. I think you mentioned juniper and
Mhm.
but yeah, just kind of doing that, putting it in water, the lemon oil.
Okay.
Greg, so before I ask questions, I just wanted to mention because I was mentioning it to Sam how I love one of your old booklets. It's allergies and other conditions
I
because
remember.
in that booklet you listed 17 lower emotions.
Did I really?
Yes, and I want to
Like,
say
look
you
at me.
you're all did I? Yeah, that's funny. You're like I did.
Yeah.
And that class was from May of 2021. And I was telling Sam, I was like, I love that booklet. I said, because you just open it and it has all the emotions. So I mean, and it even has like just lower emotions from the get-go at the beginning, and you can do the the pattern of the brain what blank. The blood purification pattern, where we start at the brain, lungs.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you just do that pattern with acacia, blue tansy, or rose. That's just to calm the
Mhm.
emotions down. I just thought I'd just mention that for Troy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask was kind of about like my work,
Mhm.
summer job. I think I'm earning every penny every penny I'm getting.
Yeah.
We got another student that came in from a different school district, and like it's turned into this big old thing because we're looking at him and making sure that we start taking data on him because we don't think he can start at a regular campus. We're thinking he's going to start at one of our special campuses because day two already, he's already struck. Like the first day he hit a teacher, like just like, and there's no warning signs with this kid whatsoever. Like there's no triggers. It's just like, I don't know. And even if we read all through his paperwork, like everybody kind of says the same thing. Like there's no triggers, there's no warnings. So you just don't even know when it's coming. Hit a teacher like on the back of the head, like really hard. And then today he attacked, we have a behavior specialist on campus. He attacked him today, and he's just day two. And he lives in a group home, and then his grandparents have custody over him, and the grandparents are another, like them two are like a work of art. So it's like a big old mess, and I'm thinking, oh my lord. Um, and we had to take him even though he's not officially registered, but because the other school district he lived in, they kicked him out because they found out that he was living at a group home that was not in their district, and the grandparents were using his address. So it turns into a whole bunch of like legal
Yeah.
issues here. But
Yeah. Yeah.
my question was like, so some of these kids that we have like right now during the summer, like, is there a general like thing where like if I put blue into their main, would that calm these kids down, or everybody's different?
It's a lot of stuff. Like it, probably your best bet is to, how like when we do the prayer petitions with the star, like you kind of hold your hands up, but then
Mhm.
tilt them down at the earth. So you're going
Mhm.
to focus on the earth and then do a mantra like Om Mani Padme Hum, or the one for Tara,
Mhm.
the Om Tare Tu Tare Tur Svaha.
Mhm.
But you stay focused on them, and you're directing the energy down into the earth.
Okay.
And we were just talking about that earlier today about, we do the prayer petitions, and I have these like set ways, but we're kind of pulling together like even a little group of the ministers to, we're going to start like sitting and doing like mantras, uh, specifically for all the like the prayer petitions and things like that, and like students who are having difficult times, because it's like in the, what is it, the Vedic tradition though, right? It's Vedic
Yeah.
tradition though, like you can go and have like people who are doing meditation all the time. You give them like a little bit of money and they just do mantras like day and night for a while for a particular situation. And it's a different way of blessing, but it does affect change. It's almost like doing a little ceremony, a little ritual about it. And so I would do your own version of that, like
Okay.
uh And like what I was just saying to Marilyn, maybe even starts like the different kids, like if you're okay with it, submit their names and everything to Astara for prayer petitions. Like you do the thing that you do, but then when you submit it, be it myself or like a little team of the ministers, we'll go through and we'll try to do it on our end as well. Because the thing is yes, it would make your life better, but we also, they're going to have difficulty in their life the more that this is out of control. So the more that we can help calm their body down, calm them down, they'll have a better quality of life and the people around them. So the more that we can do that, the
Mhm. Yeah, and this is just these kids are like, they're temporary, but still like at
yeah,
the
oh
same
yeah,
time, they're still
yeah,
gonna go back to their regular
yeah,
campus, which
yeah,
is within my school district. And
right,
I feel bad for the people that will have to work with them, but
right. But stay focused, do that, and then submit it to us, Farah, and then I'll jump in there with you.
okay, okay, thank you so much.
You're so
Um, so another question I had was this kind of gives me, I guess, a little bit of a feel of like if the position that I had applied for last year opens up,
hmm?
it kind of gives me an idea of like kind of different situations that you have to deal with. Like you're kind of all over the place, like,
Hmm.
like you're needed for this, needed for that. I mean, I'm sure at some point there's like some downtime, but I don't know, just wanted your thought on that. Like, you think,
I would say do it. If the opportunity comes up, I would do it. It's always going to be weird and a little harder at first, but as time goes by, you kind of get your sea legs under you. You know what I mean? And then
hmm,
after a while, you'll get used to it and all the different dynamics, and you'll have a little bit of experience, and it will be easier and easier to do. I mean, it's not an easy job, but you'll get the flow of it. You'll get the confidence and just the like I used to like call it like you get the chops. Like you get your chops on like how to go through and handle those situations. And as much as you prepare, there's no preparation that's going to outdo you just getting there and doing it for a little while.
okay.
You know.
Yeah, and I feel like this right now during the summer is kind of helping me out because we're
Yeah,
having to call parents, we're having to deal with a group
exactly.
home, we're having to like, I'm dealing with a lot of parents right now.
The stuff you're dealing with is definitely helping you in that arena.
Hmm.
And so I would say just if it comes up, I would totally jump on it.
Okay.
Remember what I said when that person got the job? I was like, yeah, she's probably not going to be there very long.
Yeah.
And
Didn't do a good, she didn't do
no,
a job at all.
yeah,
She was,
yeah,
she's like probably the worst that we've had.
yeah,
And
and
in the
that's that.
15 years I've been there, she was probably the worst. I think they just had high expectations because she came from central office, but I don't think they realized like she didn't really know like the high school part of it, like the paperwork part of it.
Mhm.
I don't know, it was weird. Like but she was a little bit, even at that, she was a little bit strange herself as well. So I don't know.
Nobody wants to do like in any business or like here you're in a school district or whatever. Nobody wants to do the really hard jobs. And so if you get good at doing a hard job, you'll always be the expert and you'll always have work no matter what's going on with the budget, like no matter what.
True.
You
Yeah.
know, and even if you go, I want to move to such and such place, coming from like having that kind of background, you'll just kind of guarantee yourself that you'll always kind of land on your feet. And so like you tackle something that nobody else wants to do or it's like really hard or I mean you definitely have the demeanor and the personality to handle it.
Mhm.
And that's half the battle right there. And I think the other half is just some experience and some time and opportunity to get in there and do it. And then after that, it's just time and gravity,
Okay.
you know?
Okay. Thank you. I know I've asked you this like a couple of times, and I just want to make
No,
sure.
it's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing. Of course, you like question everything. I think it's always healthy to question something like when it's like this, because if you just jump in, it means you're not aware of like how difficult it is, and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So that you're cautious, that's smart, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong
Thank,
with that at all. Nothing wrong with that.
okay. Thank you so much, Greg.
You're
Thank you.
so
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Robert.
hey, Miss Lo-
Hi.
hey, hey.
Okay, so many things. Okay, so let's try to follow up on all the stuff I have going on with like my finger and that we talked about the other day. So some finger reactions on the skin.
Mhm.
That was kind of scaly, and you said possibly eczema.
Mhm.
Um, so I've been using spikenard, and I actually got this spikenard from you yesterday as well. So I've been using spikenard mostly, a little bit of the parsley body tonic.
Huh?
Um, it's better.
Okay.
It's not as scaly, it's not as
Okay.
itchy,
Right.
but it's still there. It's very dry, like dry
Okay.
patches that are red, somewhat
Was it
itchy.
red before?
Mm,
Was it red before?
before
Like was it red like a week ago? Like before you started using the parsley
mm,
and all that and the spikenard, was it red?
the redness is not a reaction for that.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Okay.
no, it was worse before.
Okay.
So there's improvement, but it's not. I mean, it's not completely gone. I still have like also like a small blister like on the other side on one of the fingers.
And have you
Um,
been doing the pinching thing?
I've been doing a little bit of that as well. Yes, I've been
Okay.
kind of playing with my hand like
Right.
every now
Right.
and
Right.
then during the day. Um, should I what keep doing? And I
Yeah, I
have
would continue.
concealer.
Like that
Um,
kind of skin issue is not going to resolve like quickly. Like it usually takes a little bit. And be it that it's just the skin or if it's the muscles between the fingers. Like I remember like one of the things that would happen, this is why I start telling you the thing about the pinching between the bones in your finger is
yeah,
sometimes what would happen in whiplash cases is like if you think about like when like getting hit in different directions would cause different problems. But if you were like hitting the brakes and you see that you're going to slam into something, the natural reaction is to grip the wheel really tight and then hit the brakes like you lock your leg really hard, and so you like tense up, and then the impact then like jars the hands. And so one of the things that would happen with people who had that kind of accident is they would start to get these little blisters on their fingertips. It usually didn't happen right off the bat, but as a little bit of time went by, they get little blisters, and they'd get like scaly skin on towards their fingertips. And it would be a little bit worse than kind of like what I hear you describing. Like they would get these blisters that will pop out the fingertips, and they'd get better, and then they'd pop up, and they'd get better. And I would do a very similar thing, that we have you doing, the spikenard, the parsley, little helichrysum, like kunzia, any of those things, St. John's wort, but the treating between the bones and the hand, really the combination did it, but it would take sometimes like 4 to 6 weeks for it to happen. Like in really
oh wow.
severe cases, it would take like almost 3 months. But it would keep getting better, but it would still kind of go through these weird cycles. See, I don't think you have that extent of it. And so I think if you treat the skin and open up those the muscle, relax those muscles between the bones, I think it could resolve, but it still might take like 3 or 4 weeks. Like it should just
Okay, so
continually keep looking a little better, a little better, a little
yeah.
better. Yeah.
And so a couple of things. One, it used to be more of an issue before, like maybe even 6 months ago or before that. I even switched something with like nails product I'm using because I thought it was allergy, and then things got better. And then it was worse maybe 4 months ago or so. Then it kind of comes and goes. So
Yeah, see,
that's
it
probably the
cycles.
nature of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So what
yeah.
and
So it
what
does
trigger?
cycle a little bit.
So
So
what triggers it? Is it weather? Is it
I
emotional?
honestly, it might be something like, because I can't remember. You're like a makeup artist. Is that what you do?
Yeah, but I can't. I've been barely working, so I can't even
Oh,
say it's a
because
product
I was going
thing.
to say it might be that like you spend a bunch of time holding your hands and arms and having to be like really fixed with the things that you're doing. And so I would
I've
think
been
that
doing,
maybe that could be a little bit
but I've been doing more healings, but I'm right-handed, and that's the left hand.
hmm, yeah, hard to say. Yeah, hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I'm using so spikenard and kunzia I ordered, so I should get it probably later this week. So just alternate between them.
Yeah, just keep alternating. That
And
I kind of like the alternating thing for this, just because like anytime you have like a chronic issue, like the body will start to get better, but like whatever you're using might not hit the whole spectrum of what's going on, and so you kind of keep rotating it a little bit, and just keep working the different aspects, trying to move it towards a direction. And if you find that like one really hits it, then you can work that one a little bit harder. But I would keep like rotating them a little bit just to unwind that. The other benefit to like, so spikenard will relax those muscles in between the bones, the metacarpals. Um,
so you would go on the
it,
bone, or you would go in that area as well with the spikenard?
no, but still putting on the fingertips, it's still going to impact here.
Okay.
But also kunzia, even though I'm saying for eczema, one of the things that kunzia does is it does relax the muscle and tendons in an area. And like it's the other thing that kunzia does is like in Australia, like they have their version of the FDA. And in Europe and Australia, like here we can't use anecdotal information, especially from a physician and say like, oh, this can treat this, like, because the FDA says, that has to be studied, there has to be all these things. And so, we get folk remedies, but you don't get like where a physician can say, this will treat this, and so they can say this might help it get better, or, you use this traditionally for, you say it all a bunch of different ways. But in Australia, there's two things that they can say on products, or like people can make the claim is one, kunzia is good for eczema, and the other thing is it increases the flexibility of joints in arthritic conditions. And so it's not necessarily that you have arthritis, but basically it makes the muscle and tendon more flexible. And so here, when you have those muscles being so tight, it actually will help loosen those things up and help increase the flexibility in those areas. Because, even if it's, we're looking at like the things that have happened now, this could have been like 10 years in the making. It might not have been just like right here, right now. Now you're dealing with the things that push it over the edge, but it might have been 5, 10 years of you pushing, doing, pushing, doing, pushing, doing. And then at some point it just reached this breaking point, and then you started having symptoms, but it might have been in motion for quite a while. And so we want to undo the effects of those things over a period of time that have accumulated. And so that rotation of those different things, you're hitting a lot of different markers. The parsley is cleaning up any of the deposits in the joints, and spikenard's balancing out the skin and relaxing the muscle. The kunzia is reducing the potential for eczema, but also making things more flexible. The St. John's wort, it's a blood purifier and helps purify the tissue as well as treating the eczema. So like any version of rotating those things, you could even throw a little helichrysum in there. All of that is pushing that area towards getting better.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's always that specific finger on the left hand, and I don't even, yeah, because when there's an issue, that's mainly the finger with the issue. Okay, so I'll try that. Yeah, the only one I don't have is
And
the
you don't
side.
have any like neck or shoulder, or I know you have a little bit
I
of a neck
do.
thing,
I
but do you have
do.
like a shoulder on that side or elbow,
Yeah.
wrist?
Yeah, I have
Yeah, treat.
broken collarbone from 20 years ago that never really healed.
Oh, that's interesting. And which finger is it that's
The ring finger, mostly. A little bit on the pinky, a little bit on the middle, but the main issue is the ring finger.
so you broke your how did you break your collarbone?
Car accident.
Oh,
Also had a concussion on that side.
what direction did you get hit?
Front, I guess. I hit the
You hit
wall.
somebody or somebody hit you?
I hit the wall.
You hit a wall. Yeah, we might be dealing with the same thing that I talked about. It might have just taken a while to have it happen. Oh, interesting. That's very, very interesting. Okay, so treat like when you do it, like take your thumb and like massage in the hand, like in your palm, especially like if it's your ring finger, like kind of follow your palm like this.
Okay.
And then treat the forearm a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, just take like one of those oils and just or anything antispasmodic on the forearm and treat the forearm too, because you're wanting to treat the muscle as it turns into the tendon down into the palm and into the fingers. You want to treat it up higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
and
like,
then,
like when there's
yeah.
like the squeezing and then the impact is a kind of like a vibration that goes through the body that like will continue to cause like a reaction in the muscle tissue. And most times I would see it within 6 months to a year, like usually within a couple of months. But that you had that accident and that's happening, it's probably not a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
it's probably more about the accident than anything.
And then the other trauma to the area is that I broke the pinky finger maybe 5 years ago. So
It's
the
probably
bone
more the
is
car
up,
accident. Yeah,
but
it's
it's
probably
gone.
more the
Okay.
car accident. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing the spikenard or the conzia, should I do like an ointment or should I do neat? Does it make a difference?
You could go back and forth.
Okay.
If your skin can handle it, do a little bit neat. But I mean, there's
It
some
does, but
that putting a little bit in with ointment, and I like
yeah.
both. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll alternate.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
How is
then,
that collarbone area, by the
well, it's I don't sleep on this side ever. It's been 20 years. It didn't really heal properly, so I got very used to protecting it. Um, so it's not really every now and then maybe slight pain.
Where's the
But
pain at? Where's the pain at?
it feels like maybe kind of around the shoulder
Like
a
out
little bit when
here
it
or more in
comes.
here?
I think maybe more the collarbone area, but I kind of got used. It usually doesn't get terrible because I think I just got so used to doing
Yeah.
less on this arm. Um, Even when I'm doing yoga, I'm so used to adjusting things because I have the shoulder here and I have the back on the other side mostly.
Yeah. I'm going to show
Um,
you a picture of something that I'd like you to treat a little bit. Let me look it up here real quick.
but yeah, but it's not strong enough, so I don't sleep on this side, and if I end up somehow when my body's on that side, it doesn't feel right. It feels weak.
Okay.
And also the neck and TMJ is also the exact same side. So
So when you lift that arm up, like can you go like straight up and touch your head without moving your head to touch it? You know what I mean? Can you go like this? Or does it go like that?
I can go, yeah, I can go like that. Both shoulders today feel tight, but I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's stick with what we said and let's stick with what we said and we'll see how that responds. But that you had a car accident, that it was you slamming into something. It's I'm 95% sure it's a byproduct of that accident. I mean, it's too weird of a
Yeah.
coincidence that it's all those same symptoms.
Yeah.
I've never seen it be that delayed, but that doesn't mean anything. You know, I'd only treated like, I don't know, maybe 500 cases of whiplash. And so within those 500 cases, you know, maybe six. But in those cases, there was only a handful of people that had that issue. So it wasn't like across the board, but it was always like when I went back and looked at my notes years later, it was only like frontal collision, like when they saw the impact coming. It was never like a side impact or from behind. It was never any of those. It was always that one kind of impact.
And this one was, I mean, it was kind of frontal, but the car spun a few
Yeah.
times, but basically it
Yeah.
ended up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes, and
Yeah. It's
makes
more
sense.
about the gripping and then
It's
the
the gripping.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So yeah, so I'll treat all of those. Thank you. And
I
yeah,
think
and
over the next several months, though, we got to give your neck and shoulders a lot of attention, but let's get this going good
yeah.
first. And then we
Okay.
might move all of that up higher.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And then, and also I've there's other like emotional stuff that's been releasing, another thing that's been shifting. So maybe that's pushing things out now. I don't know. But
Like what
regarding
kind of emotion? What kind of emotion?
it's just a combination of different things that have been coming up, related to some nothing that's
Like it
releasing
just
more
feels
than
like
anything.
emotional, like not necessarily like, oh, I'm always angry. It's just like weird things keep popping up.
It's different things that are on one side not moving the way I wanted to move, like money wise, but at the same time getting amazing opportunities on other things that I actually do want. And then some emotions that just came up regarding some family stuff because it's this time of year. It's my mom's yearly like passing. So
Do you have
and it's
some ginger lily?
yes. I have it
Inhale, think
anyway.
of your mom and then inhale the ginger lily and then do the Ming Men back hard in the crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for for emotional and with her
That will help transmute the emotion that comes up. I mean, anniversaries, especially with somebody that important in your life, anniversaries are always going to trigger old emotions. I mean, it's just even if you're not consciously aware of it, it's unconsciously it happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I also don't really process things with other people. Like I don't like so I have like even my family, like I don't share things with them because they're in different they have other things going on in their life. So I hear, I listen, I also been treating way more people than usual.
Mm-hmm.
So which feels good. But again, at some weeks I feel like I might be like overdoing things because I'm doing the whole day. Like I don't sleep much. When I sleep great. But I just get a lot of stuff done. So it just feels like that. So there's movement, but maybe I'm not handling things properly. Like I should be
Okay.
it can be
Yeah.
it can look differently. Yeah.
Work the vagal tone quite a bit. I think that could be helpful for you. And you know how you were on this last weekend or no?
Yes.
You know how we were doing that part where we were working the bronchioles? You know, we were using lantana, and you could use hyssop, you could use other
Yeah.
things as well, but use like the lantana, and even you can mix in, I don't know why this is jumping out, but even using lavender, inhaling it into the lungs as well, but rotate it with the lantana. And part of it is the even if you don't have lavender, use the caraway.
Ah, yeah, I have lavender. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
figure if you're doing healings, you probably have a big bottle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But like lavender will kind of do a little bit like what caraway did.
So the idea is well just to relax.
Well, you're trying to not just relax the bronchioles, like the lantana is very good for unwinding the spasms in the bronchioles. And so like when the bronchioles are restricted, it throws off your vagal tone. So you're wanting to open that up, but then you want to still be able to reduce like the stress on the bronchioles. So like even that idea of the pulmonary stress support, that's part of what that does is it not just opens up like the chest and everything, but it diminishes the stress on the bronchioles and the lung tissue so that your body is able to go into repair mode. So like, again, kind of even rotate it a little bit, like, helichrysum, lavender, the caraway, tarragon, but use something that's also antispasmodic to the bronchioles themselves. So hyssop, lantana, German chamomile, pine, any of those things, super helpful as well. But the more that you can unwind that, the muscle tension will go down. And part of like when homeostatic or physiological emotions, however you want to say it, it's just different ways of saying the same thing. But anytime you look at like that is happening, there's an issue with vagal tone. Like it's like the lower emotions being like excessive or chaotic or just popping up all the time. That can happen with normal vagal tone. Like if you have good vagal tone, and it's kind of like what I was talking about in the weekend, was there's vagal tone and then there's like vagal tone potential. Like it's like, okay, even if you have good vagal tone, and we're talking, when I say vagal tone, we're talking about the vagus nerve. Like, so you're able to go into rest and repair, but there might be times where you need to go really deep into rest and repair. And like if you only have like moderately good vagal tone, when you really need like deep healing rest, sometimes your body can't go there. Like, so by working this for a while, it allows you to have like a greater potential for that vagal tone, so that like, I'm in crisis, I'm injured, I'm sick, your body's able to go deeper into that rest and then have a period of recovery that will speed up the healing process. But the byproduct of that also is it will stop generating the lower emotions.
So, okay, thank you. So
Yeah.
what it feels like, it's not even, I'm not super emotional, I'm not, but I'm like,
No,
I'm
it's
weak.
physical.
Yeah.
Your body's generating physiological emotion. It's not
And
coming out of the emotional body. It's not coming out of the mental body.
no,
It's your
but
body is generating, because there's like maybe a little poor vagal tone or the injury or fatigue, or the body
and
starts
it
to
also,
feel a little chaotic, rhythms are off. There could be all
yeah.
kinds of versions of that. And over a period of time, it just starts producing these things. And emotionally, mentally, it won't make sense, but your physiology is going through a process.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
And I'm doing so much. Like I have days I don't even understand. I go to bed super late and I do stuff the whole day, and I don't even understand how I get so much stuff done. But then the downside is that really I don't go into like my rest and repair is like 4 hours.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how much can you get in that?
Right. Right.
But okay, so I'll work on that as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned again the and yes, and I do love the body tonic, the vagal tone. And since you mentioned that, so a couple of things. There are a couple of classes that you had about the vagus nerve, and I'm wondering, like I listened even to the preview about each one of them, and still, I'm wondering which one would be more because I was
Do the
thinking of
first one.
looking
Do the
physical and spiritual
right. Do that one.
aspects of the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so do this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because I figured it would be good to get a better understanding about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
That
what
one
is
even has like excerpts out of the sort of degree lessons talking about the spiritual aspects of the vagus nerve, and
okay.
it's like a little study guide. Like
Okay.
I pulled information from different areas, and we even went into alchemy a little bit, and it's a
Okay.
really solid class. We'll be teaching that one again later in the year.
I had a feeling that it's probably going to be like
Yeah,
a
no,
2.0.
that's a super good class.
But okay, so
Yeah.
I guess I'll do
Yeah.
that next weekend.
Yeah.
And then when we talked about a few times about doing the vagal tone when doing pranic healing, you mentioned all the different areas to use, and you keep saying use violet. But I had to clarify in my mind, light whitish violet.
No, do medium. Yeah.
Which is why I asked. I had a feeling
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
different answer because I'm
Yeah.
like, it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Only cleaning or you energizing as well?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's all the areas that we talked about before.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the same areas that we would treat. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then
I mean, there's no
was
protocols there for that, but if you look at like what we do in the oil classes, you would just do a version of that, but with energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been working that, but I was like the other day, I'm like in my mind, this is not, I need to check about the shade because I'm not sure. So thank you. Okay. Now I had something else, a couple of other things. One of them is etheric cords. So we talked about quite a few times about the difference between etheric cords that cleanse the cords and something like roux that cut cords. I use roux when I do healings, and I'm wondering, as far as etheric cords, I know I can diffuse that, I can do an incense. Would it be beneficial to use as a spray as well when doing healing?
What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Clean cords, because if the roux is but if my question is if I'm
I would just
cords,
inhale it, like inhale it or several drops on the wrist. Yeah, like the spray would be okay, but I would say more the inhalation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then would it be beneficial to do that like after I'm doing healings to kind of diffuse that or do an incense or do
at the
I mean I've been
yeah.
I mean I've been doing all the sandal fun ones. So is it like a either or, like it's pretty much?
No, you could do them both. Yeah, you could do them
okay
both. Yeah.
But is there a specific benefit for doing like really the etheric cords?
It keeps energy moving, and as you know, because part of the thing when you're doing healings is your energy body is shifting and changing, and you know you're going to have things that you're connected with that are also not just people but past situations and events and things like that, and it cleans the cords between all those things so that it just keeps the energy moving and flowing and you don't get stuck in those areas. So it allows for you to be more fluid with all those things, and then it helps you to evolve as a practitioner to an even higher degree because you're moving through all those connections.
Okay, which is why we do it more as
Yeah,
an incense or
yeah,
an oil
yeah,
than
yeah,
okay, thank
yeah.
you. And then there's a new product on the website, Thieves Immune Body Tonic.
What is it? Oh,
The
yeah,
immune.
yeah, yeah.
So I that was a great explanation, and I read everything, and it's
Mhm.
what I'm wondering about is you have it only as a body tonic. So I'm wondering, is it possible or any like what about doing it as a tincture or as a spray or
It's got camphor in it, and so you don't want to take it internally. And actually, the
okay.
original Thieves was not internal; it was topical. And so that's the story of there's been some of the details are slightly different, but that is pulled from the area where those guys were caught, like and so the thing is they would take it and they would rub it on their face and chest, and then they would go in where the people were sick or where the bodies were, during the times of the plague. And they were looting the places, but they weren't getting sick. And so that was part of their thing, was that they offered up to change their sentence. They offered that up, and it's a topical application.
So would you do it as a spray?
You
Spraying
could do
that
it
on
as
the
a
body?
spray or like spray or body tonic. Yeah, you could do it like that. The reason I didn't do it as a spray for that is, it is a tincture, and my concern was be that the sprayer might get clogged a little bit.
Okay.
Because the tincture is pretty clean, but still sometimes there's little particles that might not have gotten filtered out, and
Yeah.
those sprayers get clogged really super easy. And
Okay.
so I just was like, let's just do it as a body tonic. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I was okay. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then just I have quite a few, but I'll do one more. So because this one is so work wise. I mean, you talked about you talked about sisters before with Letty when she had like a situation when she went to a new place. What I'm wondering, and you mentioned other things to clean a space. I'm wondering about working closely with a
So
person.
cystis wouldn't necessarily be about cleaning the space, but it's more about like
Getting the
balancing out
people
the brain and helping
right.
people shift into something new, and to break
Yes.
down like the glamours and things like that, where people behave in a pattern. And
So,
so, but if you're just trying to clean space, like camphor is
no,
always good by itself,
so
and
no, so
orange either.
okay, so no, what I'm trying to do is related to the person. So I'm working closely with a person who's used to doing things a certain way. I'll be working closely with him for the first time. Probably it's like a 1 day thing, but it's like a big deal. And I'm wondering if there's what would be a good thing just to put like everybody at ease and everybody is happy and everything just going really smoothly.
And it's just a one-time, one-day thing.
It's a 1 day thing, but I mean, everything can lead to other things. So it's important to have a good connection with the person. It's not a healing job, but yeah,
Mm.
it's an entertainment thing. That's a setting.
I might try cystis for that. Do you
And
have
if
cystis?
I have a mini cystis, not
Yeah,
enough to diffuse
but just
or,
put it on your wrists, and then
oh,
let you wearing it be the diffuser.
okay, that's good because I'm in there, I'm in his face. So,
Yeah.
is there, okay, and is there anything else like as far as like diffusing something around that?
You have some frankincense?
Yeah.
Yeah, do some frankincense maybe in a diffuser or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be a good combo.
Okay. Yeah, I usually
Cistus and
don't.
frankincense really like each other,
Okay.
you know.
I'll do that. And it's one of those things, everybody's just stressed out, so it's good to just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I hear you.
Okay, thank you. And a lot of it is just me dealing with things in my head. So it's that. So okay, so thank you. And yeah, and I'll let other people do their yes.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate all the help. Thank you.
Yeah, like another honorable mention would be like Sitka or white spruce or black spruce, something like that, like a spruce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All of those, they really like each other.
Okay. That I
If
don't
they
have,
all
but I'll
played
ask my
instruments, they'd all be
testimony.
in the same band. You know what I mean?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, you're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Robert, then Channing.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you're doing good too.
Yeah.
A couple questions here.
Mhm.
Uh, at some point before, you talked about varicose veins
Mhm.
and you did the vein health tincture. I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that that tincture is for internal use, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And like 1 squirt a day?
You could do one a day. You could also do twice a day. Yeah. Yeah, like, but the thing that I would say about that tincture is like consistently, like it better to do once a day every day for a while rather than twice a day and then take a week off, and you know what I mean, just consistently grind it out. So
Okay.
a drop or two, but like even if you did more it would be fine, but 1 to 2 droppers a day is pretty good for that.
And over what period of time would she see improvement?
Hard to say. It's different from person to person. I've had some cases where it was very quick, and there were some where it was like we had to grind it out for a while. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. Next question. 10 years ago or so, back in my early chronic healing days,
Hmm.
I helped someone who had a traumatic brain injury
Hmm.
that hadn't been treated for about 5 years
Hmm.
and got her back to what she considered her normal life. So I'm thinking back on that, and I have a new client today who had a TBI back when she was 2 years old. She's now 37. She
Okay.
has some of the same, I recognize the same energy pattern in her brain as the other client. There's like,
Which is what? Like what are you?
in this patient's case, the injury was she fell from a second floor balcony when she was 2 onto rocks
Oh
and
God.
broke the bones around her right eye. They were eventually repaired. She had some eye damage that healed. But in that area, I hate to use the word see, but I see energy that isn't being processed. It's
Right.
like things not coming out of the brain. They're
Mm-hmm.
going in, the brain's receiving it and processing, but it's not getting back out to the person to use as a resource and act upon.
So is there any impulse control issues?
Uh, I don't know for a fact, but she has PTSD, ADHD, uh, variety of, I'll say, social concerns.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
say that's probably impulse control stuff. Yeah. Okay. So with something like that, definitely like inhaling helichrysum, awareness on the brain, Even rubbing it into the temples like we were talking about before. Another one for something like that too is it can be Roman chamomile, Roman or Cape chamomile. Either one of those could be helpful. One that you wouldn't really think about, but Peru balsam inhaled, not directing it anywhere, could actually be a little bit helpful in this area as well. The issue is like one of the things that Peru balsam does is it takes energy from the lower centers and moves it up, right? And so, like when you're looking at something like this, when you're looking at a traumatic brain injury, you have the injury site, but one of the things that happens is the lower centers all get really agitated. And so the movement of the energy up becomes compromised. And so you're really looking at the prefrontal cortex being an issue as well. And so especially since the blow was to the front part of the head. And so Peru balsam, like another one that could work there would be Bakul. And then another one that would work, probably the least effective of the three, but would still work, would be ylang ylang. That all of those, again, you could have them inhale, not even really having to direct them anywhere, but you definitely want to work like the navel, the sex, the spleen, the Mingmen, the basic, as well as the head. You like with head injuries, you want to go up high and then down low. And so the other thing that I look at is like, are they prone to headaches? Are they having any sort of respiratory issue? Or do they have any sort of respiratory issue?
Not that I know of.
What about anxiety? Do they have anxiety?
Oh, definitely.
So treat the anxiety, but I treat the diaphragm substantially. Like the diaphragm and the neck, especially the sternocleidomastoid and the bronchioles. My kind of consistent experience was that sometimes I would even disregard the head trauma right off the bat and treat the diaphragm, the neck, and the bronchioles for a while. And a lot of the head symptoms would diminish somewhat before I even got up to the head. And it won't reduce all of the anxiety, but the other thing that I'd be concerned about is there digestive complaints? Like, is she having poor digestion, irregular bowel movements, bloating, whatever kind of digestive issues. And even though we're talking about like head related issues, the muscles of the abdomen probably could use a little work as well. And so
she didn't mention that, but we're still very early in the process.
Yeah, and it might be low on her list. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So for the diaphragm and the bronchioles, what would be the wise choice there?
Yeah, so with that, you could use lantana, you could use hyssop, you could use frankincense, you could use sitka, you could use German chamomile, like pines, like especially Sylvester pine. Terebinth might even work. But my kind of go-to is usually hyssop or lantana.
Okay. And all this is sustained inhalation except the application on the temples for heloprism. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know this is a long process, or it can be a long process, especially since this is a very old condition. Does the length of time of having it impact the length of time of treatment?
I would say it's not so much about the length of time. I would say it's about emotional tension. Like I wouldn't be so concerned about like mental tension, and it's not like in the emotional body or mental body, but the emotional tension that's held in the body itself. And so, I would start off with these treatments, but like if it seems like it's going pretty slow, like, we're kind of having a conversation of, an injury is so young. She's probably never had proper vagal tone, period. Like,
Right.
maybe the first year or two of her life. But other than that, and so there's that component. But at some point, we might have to have you do a lot of work on like the arms and legs and fleshing out emotional tension from the body. And so that would be topical applications like, body tonics with like either tarragon or basil or what else could you use? I mean, everything else can be kind of fancy, so I don't know that you need to do fancy things. Those would be like marjoram would probably work.
Okay.
One that I don't talk about very much, but mimosa. Mimosa could actually be mimosa is very good for really chronic body stress. And so it's not my go-to thing for a lot of things, because there's so many other things that are kind of that you can do and like go through and address that. But if you start doing some of those other things and it's still having a hard time to unwind, and the reason being that mimosa is good for unwinding the emotional tension, but it also like instinctive responses can be tempered a little bit. And when you have an injury that is substantial like that, it causes agitation in the body that, as much as a person tries to control themselves emotionally, mentally, that agitation is always calling the shots. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yeah, she is
And
definitely stuck in fight flight.
yeah. And so like sometimes when you need like a really deep way of unwinding that, I have used jasmine that way, but um mimosa is like less expensive to use for one. And two, you could kind of go crazy with it, like all over the body, like in a body tonic or something like that. But I'd still probably start with tarragon or basil or marjoram, like start off with that. And the reason that I like to start off with those is they unwind all that emotional tension, but it also, all of those are super antispasmodic. And so with emotional tension comes like a lot of like spasms and body tension. And so you're like kind of unwinding all of that as you're undoing the emotional tension. And mimosa doesn't really do the antispasmodic stuff like the other ones do. And so, like, if you go through and you treat, and then there's still some of that that's lingering, that's when I'd hit it with mimosa.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
The reason that I like to use jasmine sometimes is that, we think of jasmine being like really like sweet smelling and heady and, very soothing, which it is all of that. But um, jasmine is incredibly good for certain kinds of fatigue, like when the body gets depleted somewhat. It can actually be very fortifying in ways that, like using thyme or cinnamon or something where you're trying to strengthen the body. Like sometimes you do it, but it still is not quite hitting the mark. Like jasmine can be fortifying, but in a way that's like emotionally and mentally still soothing, but fortifying the body at the same time. And so that could actually be quite helpful.
Okay. Well, I think I have enough places to start
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and ways to guide her along. And at this point in time, she's extremely open to
Yeah.
many possibilities
Yeah.
here. And I think all of this will help her.
And I would say, like, as you start to unwind, like right off the bat, like check in with her sleep and like use the sleep as an indicator of how well she's getting, not just like the symptoms and everything, but like constantly like, how's your sleep? How's your, you're getting good sleep, or you're getting restful sleep, or sleep would be a big indicator for how well she's how much she's getting better and how much she might backslide later.
Right, right. We're already using sleep as a measure
Yeah, oh, tremendous.
because it's a really good physical symptom.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some improvements already. So I look forward to trying these things with her.
One of the other things I'd be kind of curious about this person is I don't know if you have a device or something that can do this. You might have to do it manually, but I'd be very curious about what her resting pulse is. Like, is she sitting there and just resting? Is it, 70, 80, 90, 100?
I would I would not guess up in the 100, but I would say it's elevated above most people.
Yeah. Because
That would
100,
be
it
my
starts to be
feel.
tachycardia. Like,
Yeah,
but people
I
can
don't
be in
think she's
tachycardia and not even know it.
right. I don't think that's an issue. But I know, okay, I know some ways I can find that out.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just like slap your fingers on her wrist and sit there with a watch and do it old school, you know?
Right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I used to do it back like 30 years ago. It was like nothing fancy. Like, we didn't have little devices. And I would show people how to do it. And one of the things that I would have them do is also take a waking pulse. Like, as soon as you wake up, without getting up and going to the bathroom and doing anything, like, as soon as your eyes open, take the pulse. Now there's all kinds of devices where you can look at it like, oh, the last 3 hours my pulse has been, XYZ. And so
Right.
now it's really easy, but I'd be curious also about waking pulse.
Okay.
That kind of injury um, can cause a lot of weird agitation in the body and can really throw rhythms off in the body. And even though she's sleeping, she might not be getting very restful sleep. And part of what you could be dealing with is like high levels of fatigue. Is she on any painkillers?
No.
Oh,
Uh,
good for
she
her.
she's on medication for ADHD, two of them, if I
Okay.
remember
Yeah.
right. I don't know which ones. Uh, but she is definitely not sleeping restfully. Let's see, she hasn't slept restfully for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And so that's, like I said, the measuring tool and
Hmm.
how I know that when we're making change in a positive way,
Yeah.
that's how I can tell.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Good for you. Keep me posted on that. I'd just be curious to see how that's going.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
I mean, that's a very young age for a head injury.
It is very young, and from the moment I met her, I could tell something was going on.
Yeah.
And during the intake, I had to ask if she had a TBI, and she said, "Oh yeah, one of us too." I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, how did I
They've
know?"
checked you out.
I It's a pattern I can tell now after
Yeah. Yeah.
working with
Totally.
one patient. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Like, once you see it, like, you start to see it, like, whenever you see it, you're like, I know what that is,
Right,
you know?
right. I was anxious to ask the question, but
Yeah.
I had to wait a little bit of time to ask, and I knew the answer.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
thank
Very
you very
nice.
much.
And then go ahead. Let's see what we have next. Janning, then Priya.
Hey, Miss Channing.
Hi, Greg.
Hey,
Hi,
hey.
Sam.
You're in Minnesota?
No, I'm so glad we had that talk and I
Oh, good.
listened to you and I came back. I'm in
Oh, good.
touch with everybody there with my brother's care team every day,
Oh,
actually.
good. Good.
And you wouldn't believe it, but today he was asking my sister for some fried chicken. Not that he can eat a lot of it, but the fact that
Yeah.
he was still asking and thinking about food was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
A very, very long chat with his nurse yesterday. So and she was everybody everybody is still so shocked and surprised that he's still here given his stats.
Yeah.
And so now he's been off dialysis since, let's see, it's a week ago Saturday.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that we had that talk and
Good.
I made that decision to come back. I think just for my own,
Yeah.
just for my own
Yeah.
sense of well-being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so death is all around me in more ways than one.
Right.
My sister went into the
Right.
hospital. She's another topic in conversation, which I'm not gonna explore today. And then obviously my brother. I feel really at peace with him. It's
Oh,
just
good.
waiting and being patient with him.
Right.
So thank you for that. I have a question.
Mhm.
I just need some strategies for from now until the next time we talk to get me through this week. I'm
Mhm.
feeling acute procrastination. I'm actually not a procrastinator. I'm really self-motivated, but
Mhm.
I'm a hard time. So I call it acute procrastination.
Mhm. Sure.
And then I just need a little oomph and support just for my energy levels. I'm feeling really exhausted.
Like you're just feeling tired.
I'm feeling tired, and so I've been using marjoram. I definitely have been using ylang ylang. I'm using tuberose every morning.
Mhm.
I just need a little bit more clarity on what to use this week to help
And
my
so
energy level.
when you're waking up, are you feeling rested or you're still feeling just
Restless,
restless?
restless. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just for I think you know what's going on. And by the way, the person starting with the name with the letter P reached out and checked in on me today. And so I
Oh,
gave him an update to let
okay.
him know. He was just checking to see if how I was doing because he knew I was out last week. So I thought that was nice. And then the person with the letter M, she's up to her old shenanigans again. So it's almost kind
O
of
M.
comical. Oh, M, exactly. And the person starting with the letter S, again, same old, same old. So I think that is another death that needs to happen, the
Yeah.
environment, I mean. But yeah, I just need a little bit more clarity on which oils to kind of
I would use jasmine. Uh, um,
I still
jasmine.
need to be able to think though and kind of
Yeah.
have clarity.
But like jasmine is fortifying, but also kind of calming and soothing all at the same time. It won't help. I mean, it will help the procrastination a little bit, but I would say if there's agitation there, that's just going to continue to build. And the thing that I like about Jasmine for this situation is you got a lot of different balls in the air or a lot of different
Mm,
situations or whatever.
I sure
And
do.
it helps one to stay kind of like lighthearted or light or playful or whatever. Not that these situations are playful, but
No, I
it
understand.
it helps you to stay like kind of lighthearted about things, especially if they're like kind of serious. And then I would augment it with something that is like strengthening. Um,
Okay.
like a thyme or a cinnamon, but internal.
Okay,
Um,
so I have a bunch of different cinnamons. I even have the CO2 cinnamon.
yeah, I mean that's the most potent. So like just a drop or two in water, and definitely be sure to take that with water, and then take
Okay.
that internal, and you
One
might
to
not
two
even definitely at the beginning of the day.
in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you take it
Um,
late at night, you probably won't sleep.
right. And
Just
I
because
have
you're
no
not
problems
tired.
with, yeah, sleep is not my friend right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Sleep and I are,
jasmine,
yeah.
yeah, jasmine will probably help like use it throughout the day.
Inhale,
Mm,
neat.
yeah, inhale and maybe a drop or two on the wrist. And
Okay.
then maybe at night, um
So that's not gonna make me a little loopy, right?
shouldn't.
Jasmine, because I
No,
still have to be able to focus and
no,
produce
it should
results.
keep you yeah.
Oh, so I have Jasmine Absolute and I have
Yeah,
sumac.
that's fine.
I have
Either one.
sumac.
So, some bucks a little bit more lighthearted than the other one. The other one's the absolute is a little bit more fortifying,
Okay.
and so you know,
Okay. I'll do sumac for
actually
cocktail hour.
do the absolute. Do the absolute.
Okay.
Yeah. I
All
mean, if
right.
you play with them and you find one works better for you, then do that one. But I would probably do the absolute. And then
Do you want me to focus or use a pattern with the absolute
no, just
straight up?
inhale it a little bit and put it on your wrist and
Mhm.
dab a little bit on the heart if you want.
Okay.
And then for sleep time, at bedtime, maybe let's have you like lay in bed and inhale hyssop. And
Hissa?
yeah, hyssop. And I know that sounds like a weird choice, but for one, it will open up the bronchioles.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it also is very activating to the heart and crown,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps to reduce the effects and the tendency to absorb negativity from the environment, and you're in a lot of difficult situations. And so I think it would be good to reduce the absorbing, because you're not just dealing with a situation, you're dealing with people in each of these situations. And, even family, even though everybody's in a good place with these things that are happening, still stuff's coming up for everybody. And you need to not be a sponge in all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And
If you don't have the hyssop, charcoal root cleanser would work just as well.
oh, I have a ton of hyssop. Like I
Yeah.
have hyssop in every corner of our house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, okay. This is great. And so, okay to put on hold the back solar plexus and the
Mhm.
basic chakra, that practice for right now.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. Awesome. Thank you,
And then
Greg.
keep me posted. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, Sam, I have something for you. I just haven't been able to get to the mailbox, but I woke up Saturday morning, like I leapt out of bed because I had forgotten that it was your birthday on Friday and I had just talked to Greg.
You're so
So
sweet.
sorry about that.
Yeah,
I
you're
hope you
so
had a good
sweet.
one.
I did. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're
All
so
right.
sweet.
Love you guys. Thank you so
Love
much,
you
Greg.
too.
And then go ahead, Priya, then Letty.
Hey, Priya.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it there in Australia?
I am not having a good day.
Oh, what's going on?
I'm at the placement today and I'm in my car right now.
Okay.
I'm clashing with students. Um, and strangely, the facility where I am, they love me. Like they love my
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
In fact, there are some really old, because it's an aged care facility. There's some residents who have not been coming out of their room for like over a week or something. But when I have a chat with them, they come out for a coffee and they sit in the dining area. So a couple of buddies who work here, they came to me and they were like, wow, how did you do that? And I was like, I don't know, I was just having a chat and it worked. But students, I'm clashing big time and being picked on a little bit, and me being me, I have not done it yet, but there is this feeling that I want them to know all about me. Like, this is, don't judge me and please don't judge me. And this is and I don't want to do that. And I recognize that that's a pattern where it's like a little bit of disrespect from somebody and I give them my whole life story. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to go home, but I want to resolve this because there is no reason for it. But yesterday afternoon, we were all sitting together, and one of the students who hardly ever speaks, they said that they were just sharing their observation about all the students since day one. And they said that I might have shared a little bit around my spiritual ideas on a Zoom
Hmm.
call or something. And they judged me and they said that we've got personality clashes and I don't like some of the ideas that you shared and stuff, which is fine, and my response was, but diversity was one of our units. We should be able to work together and not be the same people. We don't have to be the same people, and we can have all different ideas, but still get along. And the person said, yeah, I'm not like that. If I don't like somebody, I just, F them off, which is fine. But I take it so partially, and I recognize the pattern of people pleasing. And unconsciously, my mind is stuck on that how can I resolve it with them?
You
Whereas,
might not be able to. Like
mm,
I mean, that's the thing is sometimes we can resolve something, but if you think about like what that person said, they basically, they told you like who they are. Like they are saying like, I think the way that I think, and there's nothing that you're going to say that's going to change my mind. And as much as I would love to be able to say like, oh, say this or do that, or mm, people who are rigid like that, they are usually going to stay rigid.
but
And
how can I become not impacted by all of this and be
I would
more?
say the ability to kind of transition out of that situation and not get stuck in it is the big thing.
Mm.
And so, do you have some form of sage?
In my bag, all I've got is hyssop. I've got the tincture of Melissa. I've got galbanum water in my water bottle, and I've got helichrysum. I've got rue. I've got etheric gods.
Okay. Um, let's have you pull out the helichrysum. Put a couple drops on your wrist and inhale it, and think of the people you're having difficulty with.
Yeah.
And thing here is you're going to release a little bit of the trauma, but it will help you move past it. Because that's kind of what's happening. I mean, it's not a huge trauma, but it is like you could call it like a micro trauma or something, that's happening, but it might be triggering some older things. And so when these things come up, using the helichrysum will flush out the trauma that's happening and the past trauma, which is like could be, much more substantial, but it will help you move past what that situation is. Part of the issue with like what you're talking about is sometimes when these things happen, we get stuck in it and then we can't transition out. So we feel we got to resolve it before we can transition out. Where sometimes you just got to be able to go, okay, I need to just be able to walk away. Like I just, whatever. And even though that person might be difficult or judgmental or like insulting, um, sometimes the more you try to address it or fix it, so it just gets worse. And so you just got to be able to go, okay, well, I guess you just don't like me, and oh well, you know. And then remember that thing. It's kind of like the same thing that we did with Troy right off the bat in the beginning of the session. Remember when we did that? Well, when I was talking to you, like I don't know, a couple months ago, where part of the reaction is not just looking at what's happening, but also like a little bit of speculation of what does this mean in the future? What does this mean for this? What does it mean? Like we start going down the rabbit hole and we try to resolve it or fix it. And so, sit and look at that situation and then wait till you feel yourself kind of calm, start to expand and calm down, and then feel it in the body, and then go back to the situation and then feel it in the body. And if you go back and forth with that, it becomes easier to deal with, and you become less reactive, and um, it makes it easier just to kind of like step away, because like right now you see it as a situation between the two of you, but really it's kind of that person's problem.
It's
And you
just,
you
it's
need,
not the two of us. I feel like it's a pattern. I feel like wherever
yeah,
I'm going, it's just
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah, but
And
do
it's
do
like,
it one situation at a time.
I just want harmonious, just harmony.
Yeah.
Just
You want it, but not everybody else wants it all the time. You know what I mean? And so part of harmony would be able to be in a situation where people might not be accepting you or saying something or disagreeing with you, and for you to be able to be in harmony even in the face of the difficulty. Like that's the goal.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah. Let's do it right now. Think of that situation with that person and just observe them. Not trying to fix it, not trying to do anything, not trying to figure out what to do or why to do it or anything. Just sit and observe that person, that situation. Now come back to your body. Where do you feel it in your body?
My legs.
Okay, so your awareness is on your legs. Keep your awareness on your legs. Now we'll go back to that situation. You're observing that person, that situation. And then back to your body. Where do you feel it this time?
And then my legs.
Your neck. So your awareness is on your neck. And how are you feeling right
Much calmer.
now? Okay, so think about it like this. that other person, no matter what they say or do, couldn't bring you this kind of peace, right?
Mm.
The power to bring the harmony or the peace in the situation lies within you, not in the other person. So even trying to fix it with that other person, it, even if they're on their best game and they were super nice about it, it still wouldn't bring you the peace that you're feeling now. And if you practice this another 5-10 minutes, it will go even deeper. And so
Thank you.
when you're faced with this, like, you know, one situation at a time, keep doing this. And just like those other negative things keep happening over and over again, you keep setting this pattern over and over again, pretty soon this is the thing that starts happening over and over again. You start being able to bring peace and harmony and that to these difficult situations.
Mm.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're
Now,
so
if
welcome.
I've already got a little bit of hyssop on my wrists,
Yeah,
can I put helichrysum on top of it?
yeah, just put it like next to it or something.
Yeah, okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And hang in there.
Bye. Thank you.
So I think Letty was the next one, but we got to jump over to the Stara prayer petition blessing. So you know, maybe send us an email or a text, Letty, and I'll address it.
And same with all the people who we
Yeah.
didn't get to in the chat.
Yeah. And then join us if you can. It'll be about 15 minutes if you want to join us. A little blast of prayer and meditation, and if not, hopefully we see some of you tomorrow night or on the weekend. So it's a free weekend. The Saturday is the sleep class, so join us if you can.